Welcome to my new sketchbook tour video. This time I wanted to dive really deeply into the process, and I will share with you the sketchbook that I had with me during this summer and autumn, during my vacations, traveling, what I did, location drawing. So I wanted to share with you also the places that I visited, the process, the art supplies that I use, and things, places, animals, and people that inspired me. So I will be happy to share with you all of the process and the inspiration, and I hope you will join me and that it will be inspiring and useful for you. So let's get started. I'll also try to explain you the techniques and the materials that I use. I already prepared main materials that I use more or less in this sketchbook and that I bring along with me. Also, if you're curious what kind of materials I usually travel with, let me know in the comments. I'm not maybe super example because I tend to bring too much stuff, but I'll be happy to share my experience and what I usually bring with me. Without further talking, let's get started. I will try to explain you the materials, maybe not for all the illustrations because it would be too long, but I'll do my best to cover the basics. So I started my journey in train. I remember I was on the train to Milan, to my family, and from Milan I took airplane and we were traveling to Ireland. So beautiful, beautiful memories. I remember it was the sunset, and I did a series of illustrations from life. So basically I just saw those beautiful landscapes outside the train window, sun that was going down, and the night, the evening that was showing through. And I'll walk you briefly through the techniques. So here basically I use markers. This is something I often bring with me when I'm traveling because they're comfortable. Maybe the big ones are a little bit heavy, but there are also smaller ones, and they're great to cover some background. And if you like to use something opaque like acrylics, those are great. So I saw it that my friend used it like this. She used it for sky and background, so that basically I covered it with acrylic markers. And then I think this is watercolor markers. I don't have it right now with me, but they're like this, but watercolor markers. And basically my thing is to work really fast, also because it's quite impressionist situation. You have this moment and you have to be quick. So, but that's okay because that's my way of working. I'm really quick, impatient, and I just like to do things fast. Here instead I decided to try watercolor traditional techniques. So I have this set of travel watercolors from Van Gogh, which is great because it's a little bit more expanded. It has more colors, including Payne's Gray, which is really great, including more types of blues and greens than traditional ones, which usually has just two types of all the basic colors. This one is expanded and it's still small, so it really gives you opportunity to mix a lot of colors. So I used this. I used wet on wet technique. Look how lovely color, although lovely technique and effect, although the paper is not traditional watercolor paper. But I already talked about this sketchbook, which I'm basically happy about, and I'm happy to work with it. And then I often work with water-soluble pencils. I really love to create textures on the wet surface. Here I used some gray. I'm not sure if it was this one, but while the surface is still wet, I really enjoy doodling and making marks and textures. The same here, watercolors, And I think I use also pastels, so I often take some pastels with me, dry pastels. For example, this set is really comfortable. I have different sets of this brand, Sennelier. They are great for traveling. There are different themes. I have green, blue, and red as well. I often also take soft pastels in the form of pencils, which I don't have right now, but for the details, this is good. So it's also something I add extra in my illustrations. And this one was already Ireland. We did travel. We had a travel with my father-in-law and my husband, which was working all the summer in Ireland. So we went to Dublin, and it was also emotional travel, but that's not something that's referring to this video, but it was really beautiful journey. And you can see that I did something totally different because I was amused by the beauty of the trees and the green scenery that I had in front of me. I will show you the photos, also the footage. My father-in-law, I asked him to record it because the moment was really beautiful. And I wanted to represent it somehow. This kind of vibrant green, slide greens. You know, Ireland green is so magical. So I'm not sure if I captured it, but I tried to be less realistic but more magical. I should probably continue working on it, but build maybe some contrast and darker tones, but maybe I'll do it in future. Oh, this one was a bird that I saw on while we were waiting for a bus. Also because, yeah, it was a Glendalough. So we went there by bus. We had this one-day or half-day trip, which is organized by the tour operators. And here are views from the bus. While we were going by bus, we were going to Moher Cliffs, which you probably know. Those beautiful Ireland landscapes outside the window captured me. So again, I tried to be super quick. The technique is the same, watercolors basically, and water-soluble crayons. With this set also you have beautiful types of blues and greens, and you can create those lovely vibrant turquoise, green, bluish green tones. The same here, but here I also added the marker, acrylic marker, as a sky and also as a background. So first I created the flat background, I diluted with water, and then I built up the layers with those are probably, again, water-soluble crayons and pastels. So again, very quick, very light. But it's okay. I even like this kind of not finished vibe. And this is again the trees from the earlier page, this one, but this time I tried to, I painted it also in the bus. So it was more or less from the photo I took and also from memory. I just wanted to fix this image within me and give some other kind of interpretation. So I came up with something like this, and I think this is more, represents more the feeling that I had there, those tons of leaves, shades, tones, values of green. It was really something magical. Also how the sun and shadow played around. Okay, and here we are in Polish mountains, Tatra mountains, and I have a series of illustrations. So first I will show you what I used, but basically it's again the same. This is the set that I had over there, watercolor set, very comfortable, and it was also quite liberating that I limited myself with just few supplies. But in the end, I'm not sure if it's something that represents me more, but if I would say like a watercolor artist for this moment of my life, this is something that probably represents my style the most. Very expressive, quick, loose style. And again, here I worked with water-soluble pencils and those kind of marks and textures I really love to explore. So quick sketches, live drawing with the mountains in front of me, that was really magical. So again, watercolors, a little bit of wet on wet technique, darker greens, and a lot of texture making with my water-soluble pencils. I wanted to represent in a quick way the pines that were in the foreground. Same here. There was this beautiful mountain, a lot of trees. So I wanted somehow to give this vibe of a lot of trees without being, you know, hyper realistic or detailed, which is something that doesn't represent me. And also here the same view, but another attempt. And also here I tried to see how I could paint a lot of trees. The same view. Also here I think it was like 5th or 6th drawing, so I became more quick, more loose. It's a good exercise to try to be more loose. So at the beginning the contrast was better, but when the watercolor dried, then it all became more flat. So the effect was nicer when it was wet. Also the wet on wet technique dries here a little bit strange, creating those cauliflowers. That's probably because of the paper and also because it was really warm, so it really dried quicker than usually, so it was a little bit challenging. Also here those cauliflowers showed through once the color was dry, but I don't mind. It seems like cloudy texture. Maybe here also I'm not so super happy about the contrast. It should be all more dark. Here I tried it again and I tried to make those foregrounds darker. This is actually foreground which was really bright green of grass, and here it was the second level. Again here I was in front of this beautiful view. I remember it was such a lovely day because I didn't feel so well, so we decided just to have one day of a break, also because the day before we walked quite a lot. So here we just gave ourselves some hours of resting, drawing and chilling, but it was still beautiful. And this is a drawing from the place, from the restaurant, when we went the next day for a breakfast. And we had this huge breakfast, so I did some people drawing. And here I'm not happy at all. Lately I'm concentrating more on landscapes and nature and animals, but I overlooked people and portraits. So I tried to come back to it, but you know, you need time to work on your skills. So here I'm not happy about those attempts, but I'm happy that I tried and that I tried to do live drawing. This was the waitress, so I had to be super quick. Here we had those people that were in front of us. So still I had to be quick because they continuously change their positions, but it's something I definitely have to work on. There was another girl in the restaurant and not happy here. That's not kind of my style, but I just try to represent people. I'm still working on it. there was this lovely couple from, I think they were from Dubai or Saudi Arabian, I'm not sure. And there's mom with her lovely daughter, little kid that was super sweet, and they were in front of us, chatted with us, and this girl, I think she understood that I was drawing her, so she stared at me with this kind of look like, what are you doing there? After I showed her, I think I showed her the drawings, but she wasn't so interested, so that was super cute. So I did several attempts, and then I make a photo of her in this position because she just captured me. Her look, her gaze, it was so interesting for me to draw. So I decided to make different styles, different attempts, and maybe this is something that represents me more, or this one. Still not sure. I have to really work on those people portraits. And again, light drawing, location drawing in mountains. I try to represent those majestic mountains and layers of colors but it wasn't so successful because it was really stunning what I saw. The mountains with blurred background, mountains with fog, with clouds, and really lovely light, evening light. It was something really beautiful. And here you can see this beautiful place here. I'm with my bestie who patiently testified and also helped me with recording some of my art adventures there in mountains. Again here, another mountain drawing. This one is testing of the pencils that I bought later on, but when I see a plain empty page, then I use it afterwards. I just recycle the pages further on. And again, mountains, but this time I tried to use brighter colors because this one is too dark and I think too monochrome, and I like vibrant, colorful hues, so I tried to do something like this. And here I'm not sure what supplies did I use, but I guess those were both watercolor and acrylic markers, and I think I used pastels here as well, diluted with water. Here was something quick, I'm not sure what it was, but I kind of I want to use it for something else, I'm not sure what, because this accident happened, those small dots of color here, and I didn't draw them, but it seems like two tiny figures that are showing through the light, so that's something interesting idea to work on maybe in future. And again, mountains, this time mixing supplies. Oh, this is something totally wrong, but never mind. I tried to. That was, I think, at least 1 week later when I was in London this time. I traveled to London again to my husband, he works abroad the whole summer in different places. And I remember I was with my lovely friend, yes, exactly, Sarah, so if you're watching it, hello. And we went to the Expressionist exhibition in Tate Modern. So here, that was my attempt of drawing human figures in front of the museum, but totally wrong. I decided to give up, and I just decided to follow my instinct and draw whatever inspired me, and I was inspired by the poster of the exhibition with the artwork of Franz Marc. So I was inspired by this animal, I think it was a lion, I'm not sure, and I did something totally different, but still this kind of marks of Franz Marc. I really love him, his work. obviously famous blue color. So I just played around, and I played with both watercolor and acrylic markers, and I just did those marks, and then I made monoprint, meaning that while the painting was still wet, I just printed it on the other page, and I created this kind of reflected image, and I really love the textures it created. I'm a big fan of monoprint, of monotype printing, so yeah, that was I was definitely more happy by doing this than sketching people, but still I know I have to come out a little bit of my comfort zone and do it. Swatching Darwin Inktense, this one was the set of colors that I bought in London, and pencils. Still, those are Inktense water-soluble pencils. I really recommend them because they create really vibrant colors, and also this set is really nice because it works more or less like watercolors, but in an inky way. The colors are more vibrant, more flat, but also very translucent, and it's a good alternative for the watercolor traveling set. And again, I took a lot of colors, so testing and swatching. And this is the second set that I bought this year. There's something that I really wanted for having for a long time, and this is Darwin Graphited Paint set. So it's again a small traveling set with kind of watercolors, watercolor kind of colors, but having graphite powder inside, so it gives this lovely textures of graphite granulating, more let's say dull and more vintagey colors. And even if I prefer vibrant colors, this set really captured me, and I really like the colors that they have. And here I'm a big fan of oil pastels, so I took my favorite kind, nail pastels from Caran d'Ache, different hues and colors, really lovely. Oh, and here again, as you can see, not so successful attempt of painting people. This lady was in front of me in the train, but let's just not comment on the face. But I like colors, I like textures. I still have to work on those proportions probably. And here in London again, my favorite spot in Greenwich Park. Usually we stay at the Greenwich because my husband works there, and I often go to Greenwich Park, which I really love, and I have this spot where I usually sit and draw. So this is also location drawing. This time I used the Darwin set, both. I think it was the graphitint and the traditional one. And since this graphitint set is, like I said, maybe the colors are too dull for me, too dark, so I like to include some brighter tones into it. And I think it was one of the ordinary colors, or one of the water-soluble pencils, and I think that was probably Inktense, which has this kind of yellow-green hue into it. I'm quite happy about it. I love I like the textures here. Also here I tried to paint randomly plants, not very defined, quick sketching. This one is from Berlin because I recycled this empty page later on when I was in Berlin, but still park, drawing in the park, live drawing of the ducks. And same here, Berlin, duck drawing, she was sleeping. And here again, London, Greenwich, the same spot, was this fountain and the pigeons or crows that were continuously sitting on it, searching for food and water. So I tried to capture it. And again, Berlin, the duck. I don't know if it was a duck or a swan, some bird on the lake. and it continuously changed the position of the head, so it was quite challenging to draw him, but still he was quite still because he didn't walk or fly. So usually when I paint pigeons, it's impossible because they continuously, you know, move on. And I've written also fellows from Greenwich Park because there was this robin bird which I think he was searching for food, obviously, so I gave him something and he was just sticking around when I was drawing. It was super cool. Again here, from the same spot in Greenwich, there was also a squirrel that sometimes came by and also searching for food. Here, I don't know, it was just random sketching and drawing. I was searching to paint birds in a more vibrant way. And here, again, just experimenting, playing around with backgrounds and textures and greens with gem again. Oh, and this was the sweet cat in London again. I remember he came by when I was talking to my husband, and he just came and wanted the cuddles. It was super cute, and he came in between us. He was like a little kid that wanted attention and cuddles, and he just fell asleep in front of us. So I drew him, and again here I used pencils, water-soluble pencils, and again here a Derwent graphite tint and water-soluble pencils. The same here. Those are my two fellows from Greenwich Park eating my blueberry that I gave her, or him. I had blueberries and I gave some of them to him. Super nice. And here I remember I was in a plane, I was coming back home, and I was just playing around with my imagination. So basically I didn't, this is drawing just from my head, from my imagination, obviously trees. And this, you can see that something interesting happening because when I draw from real life, I tend to be more realistic maybe, and when I draw from imagination, I tend to do more graphic style stuff, so more stylized stuff. So this is what happens, and it happens all the time. But here, no, this one was from imagination, I think, but it wasn't so graphic style. So depends. Here is London again. This one is one of the parks that I know, Kew Gardens. Oh my god, best place. I really fell in love in this place, and I did a lot of sketching, doodling of random places, but I basically was just walking in those gardens, so I didn't do a lot of sketching because I was more interested on exploring the place. But I did some of the sketches. This one, but those two ones I did later on from my photos. I did photos of this fox. There are obviously a lot of foxes in London, especially if you're going to parks. They're really friendly. Usually they are not afraid of people. So there was this friendly fox that probably also wanted something to eat. So he was nearby. There was another one as well. So I took a photo and then I drew it because I had to. I mean, it was too cool. Oh, those are random doodles sketching from the course of Esther MacLeod. If you know her and you did some of the courses, you know that probably know this kind of hair technique, which is all about doodling starting from letters or numbers, but it's something hair technique that was just exercises. And here I'm not sure what happened. I think I drew something, then I tried to do the negative painting on the top of it, but it's still like not sure if I will finish it. Again, Berlin and Kew Gardens mixed together, but still park, live drawing. And this, you can immediately see the difference. This one is my imagination drawing, where I tend to paint trees in this way, kind of stylized way. I painted trees like this years ago, and sometimes I do it as well, especially on my Skillshare courses as well. I use this kind of paintings. It's not something that I don't do anymore. I do it, but I'm more going in this direction right now. Also depends what kind of theme do I explore, if it's a fairy tale, if it's illustration, or if it's just artwork or live drawing. Or for example here, classical example of live drawing. So I was in Ravenna, I came back to Italy. So this is autumn, and we have this beautiful pine forest nearby, near the Ravenna. And I went to do some sketching, and this is the kind of sketching when I do live draw. And when I draw from live location drawing, quite realistic. And this is Berlin. So every year we go to Berlin with my husband, also for his work, and this is really treat for me. I love those journeys. We usually go between October, November, my favorite time of the year, where all the colors are so beautiful. I love deep autumn as a season. I think it's my favorite. Unfortunately, it's so super quick. So I'm always so happy that we go to Berlin, because I'm able to go to all those beautiful parks and see all those beautiful colors and trees, which we don't have in Italy. Not so much. And I grew up in this kind of naturescapes. In Poland, we have the same kind of trees and nature, autumn. So I love autumn. I grew up in this kind of autumn. So again, this is drawing in parks, and this instead is a drawing with the two daughter baby girls of my friend of mine in Berlin, and we just explored some strange characters. So I came up with this one and this one. Not sure. I don't really remember what was the logic of it, but I kind of like it, enjoyed it. It was kind of drawing without thinking. And here is, I tried to represent again those colors, this nature from the park in Berlin, but it was afterwards I drew from photo, and again I tried to be more stylized. I was searching for a way, for a style for my language to represent this kind of scenery. I don't mind this kind, but I don't know, I just feel schizophrenic, because I want something more graphic, more stylized. So that's my research for it. I saw a lady, a girl in front of me that was reading a book. And again, live drawing from Berlin, and being more realistic again in an expressive way, obviously. Building textures, and again, I love really vibrant neo colors. And again, Berlin. And about the process, sorry, I didn't mention the process here. So basically, all of this kind of illustration, this is rather painting with watercolors or Derwents as a base, and then building up details with or water-soluble pencils or crayons, or later on with soft pastels like this on the already dry surface. Again here, being very wet, being very loose, then building up those layers and textures with water-soluble pencils, and in the end I do, let's say, paint details or dots of vibrant colors with soft pastels. And here it was again Derwent colors, but I drew with pencils on the dried surface, kind of candy colors, aren't they? And I think it was mix of this one with this one. Okay, so those were the supplies that I took in the summer. And here it was mix of watercolors, again drawing with pencils on the top of the surface, and then also I mixed up together pan pastel to create the background color. Pan pastel with water is also interesting. If you apply pan pastel and then paint with plain water on the top of it, the pigment will dissolve and create also lovely effects. So I mixed basically all those things together. And here is more dry technique where I use lots of pan pastels, pencils, but in a dry classical way without using water, and also I think traditional pastels as well, and building layers. Maybe I used some gouache on the top of it, I think. But here again, a park view of the lake. I'm not sure how to paint water still, and the reflection, how it reflects the trees. So I tried to do it here, but I think I didn't success. And here again, drawing from imagination, I tried to represent those parkscapes with colors, with tree colors, the impressions that I had when I felt immersed in all those leaves, all those colors, which was really gorgeous. And here I tested new supplies. Those are oil colors. Then I have, those were kind of pastels like this. It was in the form of like chalk, how do you say? And it works more or less like pastel, but it's, I don't know, maybe more intense, but quite interesting. And then I tested Sennelier soft pastels as well here, and this is for sure pan pastel applied with a sponge. So in the end, I prefer pan pastels. Testing colors, this is from the video, I think, that I left here on YouTube. For example, this one. Again, water-soluble crayons. Swatching again, swatching from YouTube. Different colors. This one is really lovely, haze pink schminke. If you are a fan of granulating colors, then this one is really gorgeous. And this is again swatching. Here I test brush strokes. It was again from the art haul video, which you can see this one is ink brush with black Indian ink, random painting of leaves and strokes. And that's it. So this is the sketchbook from my summer, autumn. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you want to know more some of the specific techniques or materials that I use. And please subscribe to my channel if you find this material valuable for you. And leave the comments also. I am very curious about your thoughts of your experience with Sketchbook. Do you paint out there? Do you bring Sketchbook with you? And what do you sketch usually in your sketchbook? So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye!